I was sent a video by one of the sisters that joined this channel, and she wanted me to look at something I thought would be a good discussion. That this topic kind of don't be discussed too much, because when you hear about the topic of, let's say, colorism, it's always women talking about it. It's not really men, because we don't really react a certain way with that versus how the women feel about it. But there's this clip, and I want you to look at this clip and let's go explore that.
As y'all know, I got 2 good daughters, one on the way.
So really? Congrats.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Another girl? Ooh, yeah, another girl.
Oh, you just
met with girls.
No. I don't want no boy. I'm anti-boy.
Bro, is that because you don't got a boy?
Nah, yo, you got it. Nah,
I'm tell you why.
You got it. It's like he playing reverse. You gotta say it.
Look, knowing me, you know how I am. I'm anti-light skin. Right?
Whoa.
My wife, y'all know, Jen, she's a pale Puerto Rican girl.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a light skinned boy, and I'm gonna torture him. Get your light skin stuff on my face. Get you some push of light skin.
What's that, colorism?
And also,
it's
I hate
hater. It's haterism. It's haterism. You've been drinking haterade since I met him on the light skin.
But it's been like that. So
yeah, he been hating. He been hating.
No, you know how I am. And also, one of my biggest things, I don't want no mama's boy.
Okay.
My girls, when I walk in, I could literally go in my car for 20 minutes. I come in the house. It's like they haven't seen me in a year. Daddy, papi, poop. And I love that. My wife could go outside for an hour. They come back and be like, oh, okay, hey, mom.
All right, so let's break down the dynamics of this video. You have this guy here. He has daughters. So of course, just as a, dad who has daughters, of course, your daughters is going to be more inclined to you being the father. That's usually how it is. Mom, they don't look at mom the same way they look at dad, right? So that's something that dads, cherish. We really do. Now, the guy said that he, didn't want any sons. He only wanted daughters. So then he reveals that his, lady is Puerto Rican, and she is he said, lighter Puerto Rican at that. She's not one of the darker ones. So he said that that's the reason he didn't want to have any sons, because if he have a son with her, it's possible that the child could come out looking like the mother in color, and he really did not want that. Now, you heard the guys say, well, what you got, some sort of, you don't like light-skinned people or whatever? And you heard the guys say, well, you always ragging on me about being light-skinned. And, for years in the black community, I remember, because there was a time period that this, happened, that at one point in time, the light-skinned dudes was in around the time of Prince. Shout out to Prince, may he rest in peace. The time of Al B. Sure, L. DeBarge. I know some of y'all that's younger, Google these names. You don't know who they are, but people in my age group are connoisseurs of music, real music. You would know exactly who I'm talking about. So in that time period, the light-skinned brothers was in. I mean, the light-skinned brothers was the thing. And if you wasn't light-skinned at that time period, it wasn't cool for you. You was getting clowned. All kind of names you getting called, Blackie, and, all I can see is the white on your eyes and your teeth at night. And, if you close your eyes, in the dark, can't see you. Now, this wasn't racist that say these things, because I even got told those things. It wasn't racist. It was other black folks that will say those things. I want to make sure I put that out there, because, we think when I say something like that, you're thinking racists are saying it. No, we got a very, very sick problem in the black community in that area. And then I remember after that time period, when Tupac, started, coming out, like maybe the early 90s. And then you had that era, of those guys, in hip hop, the dark brothers start coming back in, right? And so they kind of came back in, and they kind of just stayed kind of in ever since. So in the community, when the brothers got the dark brothers got the crown back, every time when you look at a light-skinned dude, and light-skinned brothers, you may know exactly what I'm about to say. The thing would be, oh, yeah, light-skinned dudes, they too feminine looking, because they light-skinned. Or they not as masculine as the dark-skinned dudes. And so you have the light-skinned dudes that's trying to always prove how tough they are. They probably be the first one that want to hit you upside your head just to prove something a lot of times, right? But a lot of dudes do not want a light-skinned son. I'm talking about especially a lot of dark ones, right? Like myself. A lot of us don't want a light-skinned son like that. Some of us have an issue with it. And I'm saying us, I'm part of the dark-skinned community, right? Let's go back to Drake. You remember when Drake's son, Adonis, was shown? And what was the first thing people say? Oh my God, that kid look almost white. Now, if that would have been a daughter, they would have made the comment, but it wouldn't have been that big of an issue. And I'm going to tell you this much. Drake himself, even though Drake not even dark skinned, but he wanted probably his kid to be at least his color or darker, maybe, right? He didn't really want to put his son out there like that because Drake know the black community. He already deal with it as it is. Him being light skinned. How many times you heard Drake being called soft and feminine and everything else? Come on, we got to be real on that, man. We got to be real. So if his son was a daughter, he probably wouldn't have an issue with y'all. Wouldn't have an issue too much because light skinned girls, light skinned women is okay. But when it comes to real light-skinned, almost white-looking brothers, that's not really too accepted. You understand? Now, you may say, well, that's kind of messed up. You may say, well, maybe there's some trauma that y'all need to work through. Could be. But that's the inner workings of the black community, unfortunately. Now, I want you to notice something, though, brothers, no matter just brothers in general. Even though this guy was saying this, you had two lighter-skinned brothers right there. Notice that they was like laughing about it. They're like, yeah, you see how he hate. And see, that's the way we respond as men. We like, oh, forget him. Like we actually care about what he got going on, right? We don't care as men. But now if that would have been the other way around, it'd been the women, oh Lord, it would have been hell. Now, I will say to some of you brothers, if you want to keep it real on something, let's talk genetics here. You can actually get with a woman that's dark skinned. I'm talking Afro-American woman, dark skinned. You can be an African-American male and you could still have a light skinned son. Let me tell you that. I've seen it. I've seen it on both sides. Matter of fact, I have a homeboy. His girl is dark, just as much as he's dark, right? They had a daughter, light skinned. Very, very light skinned with red hair. And that's his child. And then find out somebody in his family look like that. That's what, because like my grandmother say, them genes are skipped sometime. The kid may not come out looking like you. The kid may come out looking like Aunt so-and-so down the line or Uncle so-and-so. It's just the way the genes are. Also the issue, we want to talk about having kids, because a lot of us as African Americans have maybe 12 to 20% European DNA because it comes from plantation, rape during slavery, that may creep back up. That's where the light skins come in at, because let's call it what it is. When we came from the continent, you go to the continent now, you don't see a bunch of light-skinned black folks like that. You don't. They are far and few in between. Now, you go to South Africa, you're going to have a little different situation. When we talking about all the other countries, this is dominating all day long. Matter of fact, last time I was in Kenya, Brother Sharif, shout out to him, he said, well, you love telling that story. It's the truth. It's a story. Yeah, they were calling him Mzungu over there. He ain't white. Well, that's what they called him. Because to them, if you're not this, well, you that. So now, if you really don't want to have light-skinned sons, then, you want to think genetically, you may have to get you an African woman. That's the only thing I can think of, ones that didn't have no dealings with the transatlantic slave trade. If you are on that much, we worried about your son coming out light-skinned. I'm just giving a solution to what you're saying. Now, some people may say, it's messed up, why he got to act like that? I don't know what happened to him. I don't know. I'm not his doctor, not trying to heal him. But we talking about that relevant issue. Light-skinned dudes have been ridiculed in the black community. Light-skinned dudes have been viewed as feminine. They have been viewed as pretty. All these things. And listen, women have even said that about light-skinned dudes. So it's not even the dudes. I don't know where that comes from. It didn't come from my generation. It came before. I don't know where it came in at. But actually, I see it's still a thing a little bit. But brothers, I'm talking about you light-skinned brothers that could be, in a channel. Now, I love everybody, so I don't care nothing about all that. But we're trying to explain that, right? Most dark-skinned brothers, a lot of them, want their son to come out looking like them. Now, they cool with their daughter being light-skinned, okay? That's fine. But the sons is just a little different. But brothers, in the chat, let me know what you think about this. If you have some experience with that, and or maybe your child came out light skinned and you love your child, but you're like, man, and you heard what he said. I'm basically be hard on him, do push-ups, do this, do that, because in his mind that light-skinned dudes is more feminine. And when they say feminine, don't mean LGBT. It means just feminine. It's just that. But leave me a comment.